cafe anyway.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
It's the most wonderful time of the podcast, and that's where I sing the song called Mike's Daily Podcast. It's a song, not a song. That's right. Look it up. Mike is my name, and it's out of sight because I've researched a bunch about septic tanks. Thanks for listening to this show, even if your name is Hanks and you're wearing Spanx. Is that what they're called?
Mike's Daily Podcast.
It's been an interesting week, a stressful week. I have not enjoyed this lead up to Christmas.
Mike's
Some of you have
Daily
jobs and lives
Podcast.
that slow down before Christmas.
Yeah!
You are annoying. Because how is that even possible in today's world? It gets more and more sped up, looking for gifts, looking for forget about last minute gifts. There's last minute stuff that needs to get done by the end of the year. And it's just so hurried and so frantic. And then all your relatives want to talk to you. And they all want to get, hopefully, I mean, that's a good problem to have. To try and get caught up with everyone before the end of the year to meet your quota. But gosh, I'm finding out a bunch about septic tanks in Alabama. That's what I'm doing. I'm finding how true love. What was that song? Oh, Spanish girl, you got the kind of dance that I want. That's a little known hit song that nobody remembers from the 2000s. Okay. What was that band called? It wasn't Kings of Leon, but something, Louis the Eighth or something like that. Hey, I'm a little bit free fall in form today on this Saturday. I've had some rest. I could not do a podcast. Let's see. Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday. So sorry, this hasn't been the most daily of daily podcasts.
And here's today's podcast picture.
It's Shelly Shoehart, who's going to say something in just a moment. Not yet. Wait. Mike Matthews, don't put your hand up to me. Sorry. Okay. Please just wait a moment. Okay, Mike Matthews. I wanted so much to bring you a podcast Wednesday, but I got sidetracked. I took Basil the Boxer, who will bark for you momentarily, on a nice walk in San Leandro in the Bay Area, in the East Bay. Even though there's a little bit of rain falling down, we walked and walked. That guy does not stop at 11 years old. That Basil the Boxer. He goes. And then we got this enormous burrito. And that's one thing when I wasn't living in California. I missed the huge burritos. That's right, Basil missed them too. Oh, yeah, they're even better super sized. The super burritos. No, I disagree with you, Basil. Why? I'll tell you why. Because don't interrupt. Super burritos are supposed to have sour cream and guacamole. 9 times out of 10 at the taquerias that I've been to in California, in the Bay Area, they do not put guacamole in your burrito. No, they don't. They may put sour cream. They may put a little cheese, but there's generally no guacamole. And I'll tell you why. Avocados are so expensive, as you probably know. Although, didn't they go down in price? It's a seasonal thing, isn't it? Isn't it a seasonal fruit? I think they stop growing at some point or harvesting them. I don't know. Am I a farmer? Do I look like a farmer to you? Have I ever tilled the land? A little bit. I had to do some gardening. I had to dig up a bunch of weeds. Did I ever grow anything and eat it? No. Oh, wait. I did. I grew I grew garlic once. I think it was wild garlic. Is that what happened? I think I got sick and yeah, that wasn't a good idea. No, don't listen to me about foraging or growing things. Not my forte, really. Although I do have some lovely houseplants. that are growing nicely, and somebody gave me a succulent that I have not killed. So that's good. But my point is that you have to enjoy the season and enjoy your friends, and enjoy the burritos, the huge burritos. That don't get the super burritos, because there is not anything in there that's super. You just get the regular one. You pay $1 less, and you're still getting all the yumminess of that burrito. And if they give you al pastor, you don't want to muck it up with all this other stuff in there. You want to taste the seasonings and the spices and what they're doing to it. That's oh so amazing, al pastor. So, Thursday was another cluster because of all kinds of stuff I had to Oh, that's what it was. It was getting the decorations going. And I did some cooking. I made chicken tenders. I used to be into buying Safeway on Fridays. They did their $5 Fridays, and occasionally they'd have all their fried chicken for $5. And if you buy it cold, you don't have to pay tax, which tax in California is, half your frickin' year's income. And so I would buy those, and then I'd take them home, and I would heat them up in the oven. Not in the microwave, because they taste like rubber and disgusting. But you would heat them up in the oven, and they get crispy again. But then there's so much grease in that fried chicken. Sorry, Safeway. And it's so funny where I am here in Podcastro Valleyton today at Cafe Anyway, the last place on earth located somewhere in Podcastro Valleyton, is and Safeway is really close to here. But I did live off of your fried chicken for a while, Safeway. And Cafe Anywho, the oil that just comes out of that chicken when you start heating it up, and you go, ooh, that's going into me, and that's not good. That's clogging up arteries and disgusting. So, as many a coworker has told me, just get the regular fried chicken. Go to a nice restaurant that makes fried chicken and get it there. Or try and make it yourself, which is exactly what I tried to do. I took boneless, skinless chicken breast from Costco, because they give you these huge breasts, and they are chicken. I don't know what these chickens must be the size of houses, because these things are huge, and you can make so much with this chicken. And it's generally more healthy for you because it doesn't have the skin. As we go outside a Cafe Anyway, where we bring you Mike's Daily Podcast, or in Podcaster Valleyton today, the last place on earth. And so what I do is I chop it all up, and then I coat it with a little bit of flour, a little bit of a wheat flour, actually. And then I sprinkle some seasonings. I actually put garlic powder, probably not the best stuff on it on the planet for you, but it gives you that nice garlicky kind of taste. A little bit of that, a little bit of pepper. I used white pepper, actually. That was pretty good. It's got a really pungent pepper flavor to it. And then that regular Italian seasoning you can get in any store. It's basically dried rosemary, oregano, and thyme. Not thyme, maybe there's some basil in there. And I sprinkled that on there, put it in the oven, and it came out oh so good. And then I cooked some Brussels sprouts with it, which I did in a skillet with olive oil. I cooked it on the top of the stove first with get it kind of crispy, and then I stuck it in the oven to finish it off. And that was delish. And I threw some green beans on top of it towards the end, frozen green beans from Trader Joe's, because that's the cheapest frozen vegetable they have. And frozen vegetables that don't have anything added, no fat of any kind, because it's just the vegetable itself just frozen, flash frozen. So good. And I did that on Thursday. So thus I could not podcast because it was just too much to do. And then last night we started watching, my lovely lady friend and I just randomly walked into the Fremont Library, and there was, they got this huge DVD section, and I got a library card, which I strongly suggest you get. And if you're in the Bay Area, you've got this Discover and Go program that's part of it, where you can go to museums for free, depending on what day it is. But just about every day there's you can get in for free with passes through Discover and Go, which you get through your library card. And through the, anyway, it's called the Alameda County Library website. I forget what the exact URL is, but you are going to enjoy it. LOL, yeah. So, back to this, what do you call it? DVD. It's called Pie in the Sky. It's a British TV show. Looks like it was filmed with a $5 budget. It's BBC. It's this British guy who's really overweight. And I don't know who this actor is. Oh, and his teeth are horrible. And in it, his arch nemesis is the guy who would later play the lead role in... Ooh, it'll come to me in a moment. But it's a show that I watched on Netflix that was really good. Oh, I can't think of it now. It's a detective show. Anyway, back to the guy, the overweight British actor with bad teeth. So, but he's got a heck of a lot of hair. It's like the bushiest head of hair, and he's probably in his late 50s, early 60s. And he's done with fighting crime. He's a policeman. And he wants to give up because the guy from... there's his arch nemesis, shoots him in the leg. And he says, that's it. I've had it with crime, with fighting crime, with being a policeman. I want to open a restaurant. Because I love food. I love cooking. And so he opens a restaurant. And so part of this show is food porn. Part of it is... solving crime. Oh, yeah, because he leaves the police department under strange circumstances. The arch nemesis made it look like he was taking money from the police department and that he may have caused his own exit, like that he had shot himself, but it was actually the arch nemesis who shot him. And then he opens a restaurant, and so you get to watch all this wonderful British cooking that's just, so fattening. Like the kidney pie, the meat and kidney pie, big old thick, topping of pastry on top of this pie with the meat. And then he also made, what was it? Oh, he made scrambled eggs. But my lovely lady friend and I were watching this, and he put like a stick of butter in the pan, and we're like, what? We barely put a tiny bit of that spray oil when we make scrambled eggs, just a little bit. And then he's solving crime because he leaves the police department, even though he's leaving it under the worst conditions, looking suspicious. And the head of the police department goes, look, I'll let you go, but you got to still solve crimes for me. I'm going to come to you from time to time, and you can solve crimes for me. Okay, so he's a cook, and then his side job is helping out the police department. So it's a bizarre concept, and it sounds like probably something else that got made into something on TV. Oh, was that The Scarecrow, Mrs. King? Or Murder, She Wrote? Or something, where somebody has a normal life, and then they go in and they solve crimes on the side. Maybe you can tell me what it is. You can call me 336MM Daily. That's 3 plus 3 equals 6. MM as in Mike Matthews Daily, as in what this podcast is. So that is what we have. That's what I spent my Friday night doing, and not podcasting, which I should have done. But here's the thing I wanted to tell you about, and that is you can learn a lot from someone from their Instagram. For example, this person I have been telling not to talk for the past 10 minutes, who's in the podcast picture today. She's also on Instagram in this podcast picture, and thank you for being in it.
Thank you, Mike Matthews. It's really great to be in the podcast picture and to be on Instagram. And Merry Christmas, everyone.
That's right, Merry Christmas. Hey, this year I did not do the, what was it called? The Yuletide MP3 for the personalized thing that I used to do. Because, first off, no one would ever do that contest. So I said, forget it. This year, I'm not going to put any effort into it because the listener of this podcast does not want to put any effort into it. Not necessarily you listening, but in general. They would not ever do anything to add to this show with the Yuletide personalized MP3 for the contest, which was basically I would ask, hey, send me an email or call me at 336MM daily. That's 3 + 3 = 6. MM as in Mike Matthews, daily as in what this podcast tries to be. And tell me what it is that you love most about Christmas. I would do something like that. And then people would not do it. And I would offer to give away a prize, and people would not. Richard Griffiths is in Pie in the Sky. And then Malcolm Sinclair is the guy who tells him to get back into the police force to help him with certain crimes to solve. Michael Kitchen. Michael Kitchen is the guy. He is 71, and he's also in the show. He's the Foyle's War. Oh. There was no way on this planet I was going to be able to remember him. Is Richard Griffiths still alive? No. I had a feeling he wasn't alive. He looked pretty sickly in this TV show, and the show was filmed probably in the early 90s. He died at the age of 65? Whoa. Yeah, because he was pretty heavy. You can't be that heavy at 65. I'm afraid it's not going to... I mean, you could, but you're rolling the dice at that point. He was in Harry Potter, by the way. What did he play in Harry Potter, I wonder? He played... this is Mike reading the internet, is what today's podcast is. Let's see. It usually tells you. Let's see. He got a Tony Award. He also received a Laurence Olivier Award for Best Actor. Harry Potter. He was Vernon Dursley in Harry Potter. Okay. You probably know that, Vernon Dursley. And then let's see. He died after complications following heart surgery. That's what it happened. When you're that huge, there's that much plaque in your system, going back to why you don't want to put a huge stick of butter in your scrambled eggs. So back to the story that I've been telling and holding off Shelley Shoehart for. Shelley, Instagram, I think it tells a lot about people.
I know, Mike Matthews. There are people that post all the time.
That's true. Here's what's interesting is when they post all the time and then suddenly they stop. It either means they're dead or something's going on. Something ain't right. You can learn a lot from an Instagram account. Something ain't right. Now, I post when I do a podcast. So is it daily? I try. But yeah, if I had stopped altogether doing any podcasts, there would be something wrong. Either Mikey ain't with you anymore, Mikey's moved on to the other plane, or there's just a lot of personal stuff. When I was going through my divorce, I did not podcast that much. In fact, I was trying to go back, because you can go back on my webpage, MikesDailyPodcast.com, and see how Mike was around the time of his divorce. And actually, I kind of threw myself into the show. I looked back at that recently, and I got a lot of interviews going on. Because to my ex-wife's credit, she was like, you need to, don't dwell on this. This didn't last, but move on. Don't. Oh my gosh, I did 24 shows. 22 shows the month we separated, 24 months the following month. Wow, 24 shows. And let's see, I'm looking at one from roughly around, that's right, I went to see Portland. I talked about Fall Out Boy, what? And then I talked to a band called Ages and Ages, that's right. And then I later went and visited Ages and Ages in Portland that March. Oh, that's right. Okay. Yeah, ages and ages. And you can see that interview, read that, or hear that interview at MikesDailyPodcast.com. Just click on or hover your mouse or your finger over home, and you'll see the categories pop up. Interviews A through basically Z, but they're all split up into 4 categories, 4 pages. You'll find it at MikesDailyPodcast.com. Okay, and then finally, don't be afraid to write. Writing is, I think, is becoming a lost art. I know a lot of millennials and 20-somethings and teens, or whatever you're calling the trigger generation, whatever they're called, who just cannot write. And they just rely too much on spell check. And they rely too much on, just the whatever the thing is, the predictive text in your phone. Or they do the speech to text. And they just can't write. And it's very important to activate and to nourish that muscle, to keep that muscle active in writing. Because it's only through true good writing that we pass on ideas and thoughts. And people, in today's world still rave about books. Still rave. Books are huge. You turn on C-SPAN during the weekend, they got their book TV on C-SPAN 3. And it's fascinating. Young people still writing. And it's very heartening because we really push these thoughts and concepts, and they grow. They're like seeds. They stick in the ground of the culture, and they start to sprout up these massive movements and activists and ideas. And for example, it's hard for me as a 51-year-old to really grasp the concept of not being binary. All my life, I've grown up with male and female. Yet I know there are people that go, yeah, I was born a guy, but I'm really more feminine, and I really identify more with women. Or I know women that are like, yeah, I was born a woman, but, do I want to put on makeup? No. I want to do things that guys do. Why should guys be allowed to do that? I want to be able to I want to do what they do. I don't work on cars or whatever. It's that stereotypical male thing. I want to do that. So I understand you don't have to, don't get pigeonholed. I completely agree with moving beyond what people, don't do exactly what people expect you to do. You can do what you want, is what I'm saying. I'll do what I want, to quote Napoleon Dynamite. Still, in my world, it's a binary world because I guess I'm digital. And I don't know, I'm a digital man. But we're moving into ironically enough, into an analog world in the thoughts of gender. We're becoming more analog, where it can move along to different areas, categories, and you can identify as all sorts of different things. And I pulled out of the paper, some paper I picked up recently, with all these different pronoun names and whatnot that are just, so personally, I don't see how that's going to be accepted by the mass culture, by the mass society. It's going to take a while. It will happen. My generation will die out. Certainly the generations after me will be long gone. And they're the people that grew up in the 50s and all that, it's like got to be this or that. Can't be any shade of gray. They'll pass on. I'll pass on. There'll be the people maybe after me that are still a little stuck in their ways. They'll pass on. And eventually these thoughts and ideas of the non-binary world will be accepted. And that is going to happen through authors, through writers, to write their experiences and put that seed in the ground and let it bloom into new ideas. We are standing on the foundation or the treetops of these thoughts and ideas before us. And so it's very important to go back to writers. And you might say, what, Mike? The best writer of all was God, who wrote the Bible. And newsflash, it wasn't God that wrote the Bible, but it was, it's certainly the foundation of Christianity. All the different authors, Greek and Hebrew and otherwise, and everybody else involved with the books that were canonized by Saint Constantine. Was it Saint Constantine? Emperor Constantine. Okay, I was just trying to retrieve all that theological education I had. Pardon me. It was a long time ago. Okay, so at any rate, we'll see what happens. It's a big cultural thing. This podcast, one of its labels is, culture. So forgive me for dabbing a little bit into that. And if I do dab, i.e. stick my face my head towards the ground as my arms point up to the sky, forgive me. But there's a couple people we want to say hi out to here at Cafe Anyway, outside of Cafe Anyway, the last place on earth, somewhere in Podcaster Valentino.
Hi, it's Benita the rodeo queen. How y'all doing? I like to ride horses. Is that feminine?
Sure, Lady Godiva and all that. What about you?
Hello, Mike. It's the Disgruntled Fiddle Player. Tell you what.
What?
I cannot get confused by gender right now. Don't confuse me with if it's male or female, or if it's not, or either, or either, or whatever. Don't confuse me now. Tell you what.
What?
I don't even know what a binary is. Stuff.
It's Yeah, we won't go into that now. It's sort of like how your CD works. It's the zeros and ones that make the sound happen. Probably also how it's happening now that you're listening to this podcast, because it was recorded digitally. Look who else is here.
Hello, Mike. I make the delicious root beer house, and right now it's got eggnog in it. Oh, boy, Merry Christmas. Drink it all.
It's the most wonderful root beer of the world. Year. Hey, I want to say hi out to some people right now that might be listening to this podcast. Thank you to everyone. And I want to say a shout out to Alabama. There were some amazing people that I knew in Alabama. Carrie, Gary. There was also a gal named Mecca Music that I worked with in radio. And I was thinking about her the other day because back when I was in Alabama, we spent a couple days around Christmas time with her. And I was just thinking about her and her family. She's got, I think, 3 kids now, and her amazing husband, Brooke. So I want to say hi out to them. Oh, the phone's... I gotta go. Oh, my God. Oh, thanks for sticking around, because I just got a call from a lady who was complaining. Okay. All right, so radio stations do traffic reports, right? And this traffic reporter, who was born and raised in the Bay Area, he refers to a lot of the freeways as the. Okay, now I was born in Southern California, and I just grew up saying the 405, the 5, the 180, the 1, you just put a the in front of stuff. And when I was in Alabama, as I was just talking about Alabama, I would refer to the freeways as the I-75, the I-15, or, I would say the. And this lady calls up just now because she's got nothing better to do and says, would you please tell your traffic person to stop referring to the freeways with a the like they do in Southern California? It's so annoying. Oh, Merry Christmas to you, ma'am. Good God, get a life. What's all the fuss about this one little preposition called the? Jiminy Christmas. Merry Christmas to you. Have a very Merry Christmas. And remember, there are idiots like that out there that have nothing better to do. Aw, I hope she finds somebody to talk to for the holidays, because she obviously needs to. Maybe she wanted to talk to me some more. Oh, well, too bad. Bye.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at MikesDailyPodcast.com. Email Mike now at MikesDailyPodcast@gmail.com. See you tomorrow. Bye.
That was episode 1958. Don't forget, tomorrow morning, Sunday mornings from 6 a.m. to noon, I am on KKDV. You can check it out at kkdv.com, or if you are in the Contra Costa County area, you can go to 92.1 FM, KKDV. And of course, always check out my website, MikesDailyPodcast.com.